The regular season is over. The playoffs are set. Who is coming out on top? Let's start off with a Western Conference playoff bracket. More specifically, with one of the most anticipated 1-8 seed matchups ever. We got the Lakers versus the Blazers. Many people, including myself, believe that the Lakers could get upsetted this series because the Blazers are not a normal 8 seed. If they were healthy this season, or if this was any other season, they would be at least a 4 seed, if not better. With Nurkic returning and Damian Lillard going Super Saiyan right now, this could be a long series for the Lakers and cause them problems down the road. I personally believe that the Lakers will beat the Blazers in 7 games because LeBron has proven throughout his career that he does not lose in the first round. It's as simple as that. Next up, we got the Clippers versus the Mavericks. This is a really bad matchup for the Mavericks, especially Luka Doncic. Whoever switches onto them will be an elite defender, whether it's Patrick Beverley, Kawhi Leonard, or PG-13. It will also be hard to hide him on defense during the series because even Patrick Beverley can shoot a little bit. I can see Porzingis having a good series though. It'll be really fun to watch Luka and Porzingis make their playoff debut, but I only see them lasting 5 games at most. I have the Clippers winning this series in 5 games and handling their business really quickly. After this series, we got the Nuggets versus Jazz. Both teams did not play great in the bubble. The Jazz dropped all the way from the 4th seed to the 6th seed, and the Nuggets only won 3 games. The Jazz losing Bogdanovic has really hurt them, and the same can be said with the Nuggets, who have not had Gary Harris and Will Barton the entire NBA restart. Both of these teams could make noise in the future, but I don't see them doing much in this year's playoffs. It's not their time yet. With this being said, Michael Porter Jr. is going to be the difference maker. He's going to be the X factor. It's going to be the reason the Nuggets beat the Jazz in 6th game and move on to the next round against the Clippers. Last first round Western Conference series, and possibly the most exciting, is the Rockets vs Thunder. The series has so many interesting narratives. Chris Paul, Westbrook, and Harden all play against their former teams. Are the Thunder better without Westbrook? Was Harden holding back CP3? Will small ball actually work in the playoffs? So many questions, narratives, and so much entertainment value on top of that. James Harden's shot has been falling in the bubble besides a few games. Westbrook should also return when the playoffs begin, and the same goes with the Thunder, who will have Dennis Schroeder and be able to run their 3-guard lineup. Steven Adams will also be playing, which will be a huge difference maker. Although I said the Rockets are a dark horse team in my previous video, I don't know how they can last an entire series without a big man. They will definitely have their moments, and this will be a 7-game series, but I think the Thunder will take it at the end. I could be wrong because I can see the series going either way, especially if the Rockets catch fire from 3 for a string of games. Moving on to the Western Conference semifinals, the first matchup is the Lakers versus the Thunder. This is also not a great matchup for the Lakers because their guard defense has not been great so far, especially without Avery Bradley and Rondo being out due to injuries or personal reasons. For this reason, I think the series will go at least 6 games, even if Rondo returns like he's supposed to. Chris Paul, SGA, and Schroeder will each have their moments, but the combination of LeBron and AD will be too much to handle. Especially with Kuzma playing like a legitimate 3rd option, I see the Lakers winning this series in 6 games. Yes, it is another long series for this team, and it could affect them in the next round. The other matchup is the Clippers versus the Nuggets. I see this series going in a similar direction to the Lakers Thunder series. I think Jokic will shine and be dominant, but that will be it. I don't think the supporting cast will be much help, which will cause this series to end quickly. I think the Clippers will beat the Nuggets in 5 games, especially if Montrezl Harrell is back to his normal form by that time. The Nuggets are probably the future of the Western Conference, but it's not their time to shine yet. Kawhi, PG, Lou, and Harrell will be too much to handle for the Nuggets, and they will cruise to the conference finals against the Lakers. This is the matchup everyone's been waiting for. Will the Clippers take the LA spotlight from the Lakers after 50 plus years? Will the Clippers finally be that team? Is Kawhi Leonard about to change another franchise?
No! God! No! God, please, no!
Not yet, in my opinion. By this time, the Lakers will be in a groove. After 2 hard-fought series against veteran teams, the Lakers will look dominant. It will carry over to the Clippers series, where they will get an early lead in this series. The Clippers come back and force a Game 7 though, because it's only right to end the Battle of LA in 7 games. But in the end, the Lakers will win the series and book their ticket to the finals, or whatever they do in the bubble. Now that we got my Western Conference bracket completed, let's move on to the Eastern Conference and find out who's joining them. The first matchup is the Bucks versus the Magic. the 1 seed versus the 8 seed. The Magic had a promising start to the NBA restart and won their first 2 games by combined 26 points, but then everything went wrong. They got hit by the injury bug. Jonathan Isaac tore his Achilles on a routine hop step, and Aaron Gordon collided in midair with Kyle Lowry, causing him to miss games with a strained left hamstring. If the Magic were healthy, they could have taken a game or 2 away from the Bucks, but since they are injured, I see the Magic getting swept by the Bucks. Bring out the brooms. They don't have anyone to contain Giannis, and the Bucks are simply better than the Magic from almost everywhere on the court. Next up, we got the 2-seeded Raptors versus 7-seeded Nets. This series would be so much more interesting if KD, Kyrie, and Dinwiddie were on the roster. With this being said, the Raptors are going to finish the series quickly. The Raptors went 7-1 during the bubble, and their entire roster has looked dominant. Their most impressive game was against the Lakers, where they blew them out by 15 points. The only reason I don't think the Raptors sweep this series is because they are the Raptors. Every single time we see them in the playoffs, they manage to lose one game, especially game 1 of a playoff series. We already know that Kyle Lowry will have a bad game every now and then, which will allow the Nets to steal a game. I can also see Caris LeVert absolutely going off like he has throughout the entire NBA restart, causing the series to go even longer. Next up, we got the series between the Celtics and the 76ers, which is going to be the most entertaining in my opinion. The 3rd-seeded Celtics, led by Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum, versus 6th-seeded 76ers, led by Joel Embiid. Even though the 76ers have been underwhelming with and without Ben Simmons on the roster, I have the series going 7 games. Both teams are completely different. The Celtics have some of the best guard-forward combinations in the league, but their centers are a liability, which could lead them to having a short playoff run. But their coaching could make up for this. The 76ers, on the other hand, have a long and tall roster. They have decent coaching, but their length could be the difference maker. But Embiid has to be assertive and make sure that he makes his presence known. That is the only way the 76ers win this series. I can see this matchup going either way, but I think the series will end up with the Celtics winning in 7 games. Up next, we got the last first round matchup of the East, the Heat versus the Pacers. TJ Warren versus Jimmy Butler, a must-watch series. Warren has been playing out of his mind in the bubble, but the last time we saw these two teams face off, he only scored 12 points. He will probably score more than this in the playoffs, but I got the Heat winning this series even though they are the 5 seed in 6 games. I don't see the Pacers doing much in this year's playoffs. On to the Eastern Conference semifinals. The first matchup is the Heat versus the Bucks. This is not going to be a cakewalk for the Bucks like it was for them in the first round. Giannis will have to work harder for his buckets with Jimmy Butler guarding him on the perimeter and Bam in the paint. This game will come down to the Bucks role players versus the Heat's role players, who will have a bigger impact. I think that the Bucks supporting cast is much better than the Heat at the moment, and due to this, I have the Bucks winning the series in 6 games. The next semifinals matchup is the 2-seeded Raptors versus the 3-seeded Celtics. Both teams have played great in the bubble. The Celtics went 6-2 while the Raptors went 7-1. During their head-to-head matchups, the Celtics dominated the Raptors and beat them by 22 points. They held Siakam to just 11 points while Van Vliet and Lowry only had 24 points combined. I don't see this happening every game though, and I expect the Raptors role players to do much better. But in the end, this is where the Raptors and Raptors fans will miss Kawhi Leonard. People have been saying that the Raptors are the same team even without Kawhi and trying to take credit for him, but this is where we see the difference with and without him. I see the Celtics winning back-to-back 7-game series and booking their ticket to the conference finals against the Bucks. The Bucks versus the Celtics. This is a rematch of the 2019 playoffs. During that series, the Celtics won the first game, which led Paul Pierce to say this:
as a team, I don't know where Milwaukee goes from here. Because
Whoa. So is this over?
No, listen, I think it's over.
The Bucks completely proved Paul Pierce wrong though and won the series in 5 games. This year is different though. Tatum has gotten better, Jaylen Brown has improved, Hayward has gotten healthier from his freak injury, and the biggest difference is Kemba Walker. Last year they had Kyrie Irving, who did not fit with the team. He's a great player, but he was learning to be a leader, which caused a clash in the locker room. But Kemba, on the other hand, has been a perfect fit. He's allowed younger players to grow, and the chemistry is looking much better. But the Bucks have been even better this season. They have run through the regular season with ease, and according to my predictions, they will run through the playoffs too. With the Celtics coming off of back-to-back 7-game series, I have the Bucks taking the series in 6 games and going up against the Lakers in the finals. This will be such a great series. It will be like a passing of the torch if the Bucks win, but LeBron making a statement that this is still his league. Both teams are top top offensive and defensive teams and built to accommodate their superstars. The Lakers have more star power while the Bucks are a better team all around, just like the Lakers versus the Clippers matchup. In the regular season, both teams split the season series 1-1. With this being said, I have the Lakers winning the championship in 7 games. Both of these teams are evenly matched and it'll be really fun to watch. With this being said, thank you guys for watching this video and let me know who you guys got winning the championship down below. And check out these other videos if you're interested.